Good morning. Living God, we believe in a world made new, where mourning is turned into dancing and souls are set free. We believe in a world where all are heard and rivers flow, where each may drink, a world where the harvest becomes a banquet for all.
God of all creation, you have given us a world of beauty. You have given us a place of plenty where no one needs to hunger, if your people learn to share.
Open our hearts and teach us your compassion. Open our minds and grant us the courage to count the cost. Give us the strength to cast off all that binds us to wealth and possessions. Guide us as we work to bring about your dream. Call us and walk with us as we become a people who count the cost to build community and work for justice.
As we gather this morning, we invite you to join us in singing, "Come, ye thankful people, come." If you are in person, we invite you to stand as you are able. If you are joining us online, we invite you to sing loud and strong from your couch, car, or wherever you are. We welcome one another as we join our voices together wherever we are. The trees in the forest do not compete for resources. They share nutrients throughout the root systems, and disperse wisdom through the webs of fungi. Let the legacy we leave to one another be this:
we saw how we were bound up with one another, and life force. In our connection, we flourish.
Be a mushroom. This light centers us. It is the blending of memory of saints and dear ones.
This illumination reminds us that our questions, our creativity, our imagination will guide us as we strive to live as followers of the way of Jesus.
We will not stop loving each other. We will not become hard-hearted. We will not stop weeping for each other, We will not stop lighting candles, telling stories, writing poems, and singing songs. We will not stop marching, disobeying, boycotting, resisting. We will not stop telling the stories of the dead. We will not stop fighting for the living. We will not stop loving each other. No matter the sinister untruths to sway us otherwise, we will find our way back to one another, and we will not stop loving each other. Amen. May the lineage of love be with you.
And also with you.
To those online, we invite you to share this ancient greeting in the chat. For all of those in the sanctuary, we invite you to turn to the camera and say hello to all worshiping with us in digital space this morning. For those in the sanctuary, you are also invited to share this ancient greeting with those seated near you.
Can you hear me? Oh, yeah, that was... I'm Pastor Jenn. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and it is my delight to say welcome, especially in this space where there's good energy and love flowing already. I'm going to share a few things about the life of the church, but I feel like one of the most important things I get to say is welcome. We're glad you're here, joining us online from wherever you are watching later this week, and to each of you who have said, yes, I'm going to show up. I know sometimes that's a lot, so thank you for being here. I appreciate your attention, your questions, the way we lean into this space together this morning, so thank you. Thank you for that. We're off to a good start. We've been invited to be a mushroom already, so we're good, right? So if you want to get to know a little bit more about us and just to share with whom we're worshiping, there's a check-in. This is an opportunity to take out your phone. I know not all of us want to do that in worship, and that's okay. You can write it in other places, but on this one, you can hold up your phone as if you're going to take a picture. It'll take you to a link, and there's the opportunity to share your name, any information that's helpful, and then we can connect with you if you'd like to get together at another point or have any questions. That's an opportunity to do that. And then again, follow us on Facebook and Instagram's a lot of places that we live, just to know more of what's going on throughout the week. We gather Tuesdays at the Dancing Mule to share in conversation. If that's not a good day, reach out and we'll find another time to share in conversation. Today is Joining Sunday. I know of a few folks who have said, this is the place where I belong, and they're going to come up. That's an open invitation. If that's you and you're like, I've been thinking about that, you're welcome to just come up at the end too, but this is a wonderful moment for us to think about what it feels like to say, I belong and I'm a part of this. And then to know that that shifts and changes based on who we are and the gifts and the questions we get to ask together. And today we get to celebrate that. We're very excited about that. After church, as that our table will extend this morning, we'll be sharing pizza together around the table. I want you to know what you'll find is a deconstructed salad. You get to pick the toppings, so that way hopefully it's safe for all. There will be gluten-free pizza, vegetarian pizza, as well as pizza sans cheese. So we're in our hope that everyone can participate at the table. So if you were thinking, I need gluten-free, we got you. We hope you will come and stay at the table. And to stay for a few moments or linger as long as possible, just to share in a way of saying thanks and getting to celebrate this community and being together at the table. So hope you'll stay and join us. A huge thank you to our community collaborative who worked so hard behind the scenes to put all that together. We'll say a big thank you later, but just a huge thank you to them. Part of our meal, we're going to do something today. So if you don't already have the app, we know a few of us have said, I don't know how to get it on my phone, or once I get it on the phone, I don't know what to do. Ashley and I are going to walk around and put it on your phone for you while you're sitting down and eating pizza. We got you today. So if you're one, just come find Ashley or I during the meal, and we'll help you to add it to your phone. Again, there's a QR code, so you can hold up your phone. It'll take you to the link to do the download. But if you have any issues with that, any of those steps, today we'll do it during lunch together. The Labyrinth will be out this Wednesday. We know for some of us the holidays can be a joyous time. It can also be difficult to gather around some tables. Sometimes there are hard conversations for a plethora of reasons. So the invitation this Wednesday, 9:30 to 5:30, the Labyrinth will be in the gallery. An opportunity for you to walk, to take as much time or space as you need, whatever you find yourself this season, celebrating the joy of getting to travel or holding the questions or concerns that you might bring to that day. So just know on Wednesday, and we'll share on social media, feel free to encourage and share. Anyone is welcome to that space as the Labyrinth is out this Wednesday. The stories of grief and lament will be on pause this Wednesday, as that team will actually be part of the ones holding the space at the Labyrinth, but it will pick back up next Wednesday at noon. The wideness of grief and lament, Caitlin has just done an incredible job. She's a chaplain at Mercy and just a very gifted pastor. I'm so thankful for her sharing her time and skills. It's a time you can come in and out of. You can come once, but she's intentionally holding this during the holiday season, knowing and our world is very difficult and complex. So this is a time to bring all of that, whether it's a loved one or grief or lament for the world. Encourage you to come together and be in that space as it's yours to do. Trans Day of Remembrance is today. We know this is a very tender time and are so grateful for the work of many who are holding space to remember many siblings that we have lost to death this year. So we hope that you would, if this is yours to do, or to make sure to share widely with others so that they know this is happening today at the Old Glass Place from 4 to 6 today, later this afternoon. Today is the last day for your t-shirt order. You don't want to miss that. Christie has got you. It's not too late. So another opportunity during pizza, you can go up. Do want to remind you, if you've already signed up, to make sure to just let us know about how you're going to pay, and we'll get that all together. And then we'll see those in a couple weeks. So t-shirts will be here, and there'll be more of us. I think Christie is sporting her. You see it in person. So just a reminder, it's not too late. You can still sign up today to get your t-shirts. Drag Bingo will be taking place next Sunday, November 26th. This is to support specifically the Crisis Cold Winter Shelter. It's a really cool, great space. I believe this would be more geared toward adults for this one, just a quick note on this one. But a super fun evening, and encourage you, if this is yours to do, or to please share widely, as all the proceeds will go to help support the all-gender Crisis Cold Winter Shelter. Again, that's next Sunday evening at 5 p.m. Just make sure it's on your calendar. So today, we're bringing up Christmas. I feel like we should be singing some kind of like song about that. So before we eat, and encourage everyone. So all ages, all sizes, there's something you can carry. We'll just go down and bring up the boxes together, and then there'll be a team of elves. Literally, that's how I think about them tomorrow, that will be coming in. It's not too late. If you have time tomorrow, want to pop by and help decorate the church, you are welcome to do that. But today, as you feel comfortable going up and down stairs, encourage you to go, and then we're going to bring up Christmas boxes right before we eat together. Maggie, did you have a question? It is Thanksgiving time. Yes, we often wonder, right? It's kind of confusing because Thanksgiving's coming, but we've got to prepare for Christmas, right? I hear you. It's not Christmas yet, but we're getting ready. Great question. Thank you for that. So we're getting ready. We're not celebrating yet. We're just getting ready together. Good clarifying question. Thank you. There was something else I was supposed to say. Yes, I remembered. So today, there are a lot of invitations that are coming. You might have noticed there's a piece of paper inside that says Cold Winter Season, Our Hopeful Impact. So we're doing a couple of things today as we think about stewardship. And I want to tell you about this one. This is an opportunity for us to consider what we might do together this season, and to actually pull it all together in one place so we can see this is more of a hope and a promise and a wish. It may not look like this. We know things go differently than planned, right? That's okay. It's more of a way for us to say, this is how I hope to participate and be a part of that. What we're going to do is invite you to put those in the chest. You may not be familiar with the chest of Joash. I'm not going to go into all the details right now, but this has been a space for us to close or to hold our hopes and dreams. And this season, this is going to be a way for us to think about how our hope for caring for our neighbors. So you'll see throughout the season, we have an invitation to get socks and a lot of other things that the kids are going to invite us to do. They're going to go in our chest. Our chest is the hope of how we're going to love and care for our neighbors. So think about this. If it's not yours to fill out today, that's okay. We're going to invite our other partners at National Avenue Christian Church. From Jobs of Justice will be receiving an invitation, Discovery Garden, our Boy Scouts, to consider what they might do this season too. So just know this will be a wideness of community, just putting forth our hope. The other invitation today, you've seen an email come out with our narrative budget that says this is our hope for our church. So you won't see the full budget. We have a kind of a hopeful, wondering projection on that, but you won't see the full budget until December 17th when we vote on it. But now is the time for us to consider how we might steward our resources and what we might give. And we heard wonderful sermon and invitation from John last week. This is a hope. We know it might change, and that's okay. But we know that it takes the financial resources, our time, our energy, all the pieces. So this is your invitation to think about that. If today is not the day for you to finalize that, that's okay. Our hope is that we'd have all those by the end of November so we can finalize and put together the budget and do all the things we do with the numbers to get it right, so we can really say faithfully what it is we're going to do. There are a few paper copies. If you prefer to put that in paper in an envelope and pass it in the plate, great. There's a QR code. You can do it all online. That is also in your program. So you'll see that QR code. If you're thinking, I'm going to do this later, you can have it there too. If you have any questions about that, you can ask myself, Jonathan Lancaster, who's our wonderful finance team leader this year, helping to do all that hard work. So more to come, but there's multiple invitations happening this morning. That's a lot. That's enough. Let's take a deep breath. Breathe in the goodness of this place, the hopes, the love, the possibility of who we are and who we might continue to be together. Let us lean into love. Love as close as our own breath. May it be so.
From the Gospel according to Matthew, chapter 25. The kingdom of heaven is like a man who was leaving on a trip. he called his servants and handed his possessions over to them. To one he gave 5 valuable coins, and to another he gave 2, and to another he gave 1. He gave to each servant according to that servant's ability. Then he left on his journey. After the man left, the servant who had 5 valuable coins took them and went to work doing business with them. He gained 5 more. In the same way, the one who had 2 valuable coins gained 2 more. But the servant who had received the 1 valuable coin dug a hole in the ground and buried his master's money. Now, after a long time, the master of those servants returned and settled accounts with them. The one who had received 5 valuable coins came forward with 5 additional coins. He said, "Master, you gave me 5 valuable coins. Look, I've gained 5 more." His master replied, "Excellent. You are a good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a little. I'll put you in charge of much. Come, celebrate with me." The second servant also came forward and said, "Master, you gave me 2 valuable coins. Look, I've gained 2 more."
His master replied, "Well done, you are a good and faithful servant. You've been faithful over a little. I will put you in charge of much. Come, celebrate with me." Now the one who had received 1 valuable coin came and said, "Master, I knew that you are a hard man. You harvest grain where you haven't sown. You gather crops where you haven't spread seed. So I was afraid, and I hid my valuable coin in the ground. Here, you have what's yours." His master replied, "You evil and lazy servant. You knew that I would harvest grain where I haven't sown, and that I would gather crops where I haven't spread seed. In that case, you should have turned my money over to the bankers, so that when I returned, you could give me what belonged to me with interest. Therefore, take from him the valuable coin and give it to the one who has 10 coins. Those who have much will receive more, and they will have more than they need. But as for those who don't have much, even the little bit that they have will be taken away from them. Now take the worthless servant and throw him out into the farthest darkness." A reading to ground us in our tradition as we learn and relearn our work in creation.
Is it on? Let us center ourselves, get comfortable, maybe close your eyes if you feel like it, and then let us pray. God, you call us to be your hands and feet. You call us to move past ourselves, to invest our time, love, energy, and resources to the care of others and the earth. Creator of all good things, we long to be good stewards of the gifts you give us. We see people hungry and cold on the streets. We hear the pain of the marginalized and oppressed, the excluded and the harmed. Move us to bring your light, your hope, your healing, and your restoration. We know what it looks like when we invest in love. It looks like full bellies, warm homes, inclusive spaces, and the hard work of reconciliation. God, the giver of abundance, let us not forget we have the power to love beyond ourselves, the power to use our gifts to make things better for all people. In the name of love, may we live our faith. Good, caring presence within us, around us, and above us, hold us in a sense of mystery and wonder. Let the fullness of your goodness be within us and around us. Let all the world know your ways of caring and generosity. May we find we have all we need.
to meet each day without undue anxiety, overlook our many struggles, and help us to release everyone from their struggles. May we know we are accepted. Strengthen us that we will reach out to the best, always with the faith to rise above the ugly realities of our existence. And we celebrate the gifts you have given us, the rich kingdom of life's possibilities, the power to do good, and the moments when we have seen the glory and wonder of everything. You evoke life's wisdom, you evoke life's power, you evoke life's ultimate meaning, always and for everyone. Amen.
Thank you, choir. What a beautiful, beautiful prayer. One of my family's favorite activities is to play board games. We play a range of games from flip and rights to Euros to deck builders and many, many worker placement games. If you don't know any of the things I just said, don't worry. It really doesn't matter. I have taken a long time to learn them, and I'm still not always sure I'm using them correctly, so don't worry about that part. Many of the games, especially the worker placement games, where you're trying to position all the things, you spend a lot of time trying to determine how to build your economy. Whether it's building a vineyard in viticulture, or collecting all your favorite birds to get the points and the eggs in Wingspan, or you're spending time trying to get together the different kind of village and build it right in Stone Age, much of the work is figuring out how to build and sustain an economy. Resources take time to collect, and you have to figure out how to manage them well while adjusting for other players and the wild curveballs that come. Like when someone takes the bird you were really hoping you were gonna get this turn, or when somebody puts their placement where you were wanting to go so you don't get to actually have the babies in the family, like in Stone Age. Again, I know most of you are like, what is she talking about? Just go with it, just go. Some of the games we play are cooperative. A lot of the games you're playing for a winner. But even though there's this element of competition, there is such delight in getting to be together and share in the system, and I find most of the time, even though some of the characters in my house are a little competitive, it's about the fun and the joy of getting to be together and figure it out together. In our lives, we have many systems that shape our narratives and stories. Many of them are the systems that we participate in because we have to, and we're not doing it for fun, right? They're systems we need to gain access to resources for survival. One of the systems and ways we talk about this is economy. So I want you to take just a moment and sit with this word. How do you define economy? Just sit with it for a second. Maybe write it down if that's helpful, or put it in the chat online. Just take a moment. Think about it. I did a simple poll. You can still keep thinking. Maybe you'll find this is true. And I realized that many of us have negative reactions to this term. People quickly move to this is transactional nature that occurs within our economy. Maybe sometimes we feel like we've stepped into a board game where someone's saying things and we have no idea the rules. We've been thrust into a game, we're given limited resources, and someone takes that bird that we really wanted. Maybe that's how we feel sometimes. Oxford defines economy as this: the careful management of available resources. That's it, right? That's it. It's not inherently good or bad. And there is a historical context about how those before us have chosen to manage resources that we step into. I've often struggled with how to talk about money and stewardship. I don't know if you're like me in that. Maybe, maybe not. Some of us are really good at it. But I realize it has a lot to do with the disparity around resources and what happens often in our economy. Often what I see is that place where people are exploited, and I really struggle with that. But this week I realized that I love thinking about it when I'm thinking about when it brings people together at a table, and they get to figure out with joy and imagination and creativity and play even sometimes how to take the resources and do something wonderful and powerful together. Looking back now, I see much of Jesus' ministry and teaching and work was about managing resources. He spoke about an unjust fishing industry. If you haven't heard me on that sermon, I'm happy to sit and talk that one with you. But it was a lot of a protest. He knew that the local farmers were in trouble and the local fishermen were in trouble based on what was happening and the way people were taking and stealing from them. He spoke a lot about tax collectors. I know we know that story. Taking more than they needed and giving to those who already have more than enough. Jesus recognized that the economic system was not a loving, just system that strengthened all people. Often people were using resources to preserve power over, to hoard and to exploit. Does this sound somewhat familiar? Turns out, humans throughout all history wrestle with how to do this well in this practice. Jesus observed the impact of those practices and that they had real-life implications. What if? What if we reimagine how we manage resources? What if those practices were based in love and mutuality and even joy? One of the economic systems that defines much of our lives is capitalism, right? We ought to talk about that. Richard Rohr has a really powerful piece and talks about this, and I just want to share a little bit about how he defines capitalism and some of the implications. He writes, capitalism is based on quid pro quo, reward and punishment, justice is retribution. This much product requires this much payment, and soon becomes a framework for our fundamental relationships, our basic self-image actions. I deserve, you owe me, I will be generous if this helps me too, and constructs a faulty foundation for our relationship with the divine. We've got to admit that this system of exchange is reasonable to most everybody today. He continues, if we're honest, it makes sense to us too. It seems fair. He says, I'm not going to say it's wrong. It does much good. The trouble is, Jesus doesn't believe it at all, and he's supposed to be our spiritual teacher. One of the places that we see Jesus' insights on these practices is in parables. Jesus' New Testament scholar Amy Jo Levine, who I've quoted many times, and particularly out of her book Short Stories by Jesus, which we've read this one, where we talk about the parables of a controversial rabbi, she reminds us in the introduction that each person is going to hear a distinct message when they hear the parables and what comes to them. She reminds us that these stories are stories of challenge. They invite us to look at our values, our lives, to bring up questions and truths that we often don't want to acknowledge. Ashley did an incredible job of reminding us of that challenge last week. He took a story that we often heard, the story of the widow who gave her last coin, and he turned it a little bit, gave us an opportunity to lean in and look a little bit differently, and pushed us to see that Jesus isn't simply praising and encouraging everyone to give everything until it hurts. Jesus is calling out that system and says, no, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be that someone gives out of absolute nothingness. So today, we heard a story that maybe a few of us are like, oh, I've heard that one before, right? Jesus tells a story of 3 servants who were given different sums of money, their master's out on vacation, and 2 servants turn around and double those investments. But the third one buries the money and is punished and is thrown out into outer darkness. Often this story is told that one must use their gifts or talents. Probably all heard that sermon before, I suspect or imagine. And if you don't, that there'll be punishment. A few other commentaries I read wondered about if this part of the story is a reminder to us to not be bound by fear. I think if the parable doesn't make us go, wait, what? Then it's really not doing a work on us. Diana Butler Bass shared this incredible reflection. It's the words of Debbie Thomas. Probably already read this morning. You're going to hear it again. She's a columnist from the Christian Century. She wrote The Good Kind of Worthless. It's based on William Herzog's book, Parables as Subversive Speech, Jesus as a Pedagogue of the Oppressed. So I'm going to share with you several chunks of Debbie's work, because it's just so good. So this is Debbie Thomas's word, helping us to lean into a parable that might make us a little uncomfortable, and listen, just listen up. In Jesus' day, talents were not coins or small wads of cash. They were hefty, precious metals, silver or gold often. They weighed somewhere between 80 and 130 pounds. I didn't know that. A single talent was worth approximately 20 years of an ordinary laborer's wage. In other words, a talent represents a staggering amount of money to Jesus' peasant audience, an unthinkable lottery jackpot sum that only the wealthiest elite might possess. How did the elite amass that kind of wealth, you ask? They lent money to the farming poor at an exorbitant interest and systematically stripped those debtors of their land. Often the people who took such loans at rates between 60 and 200% did so out of desperation, putting their fields up as collateral in a last-ditch effort to save their livelihoods. Inevitably, their efforts would fail. Drought would hit, debtor would grow ill, crop would yield too little, and at that point, the staggering interest rates of a farmer agreed would kick in and force foreclosure. The poor man would have no choice but to surrender his ancestral land, to watch as the wealthy elite repurposed his field for profit, and join the multitude of the landless day laborers who could not know from day to day where their bread would come. I'm just going to pause for a second, continue her words. So much of that sounds so familiar, right? Right? So keep going. Debbie writes, Herzog's invitation to us is to see that the situation which Jesus describes the parable of the talents, the 3 slaves in the story, are the wealthy master's retainers. They're the household bureaucrats, essentially the middlemen who observe the land, the workers collect the debts, keep the profits coming while the master is away on business. It's understood by everyone involved that the slaves are free to make a little bit extra on the side, so they can charge the farmers some fees or interest as long as they keep the money flowing for the master. In the scenario, the slave's wealth, status, and well-being are tied to the master. The more money they make for him, the more comfortable their lives become. What happens when we read the parable of the talents through the cultural and economic lens that Herzog offers? Debbie continues. A member of the wealthy 1% gives 3 of his most trusted workers a jackpot to play with. They know the rules. The more they make for the boss, the more they get to keep for themselves. The name of the game is exploitation, no questions asked. The only rule, turn a profit. Turn as much of a profit as you possibly can. 2 of the slaves, they do exactly as they're told. They take the talents out into the world. They double them on the backs of the poor. Who knows how many fields they seize, how many farmers they impoverish, how many families they destroy? Doesn't matter. Get to the bottom line. They make a profit. When the master returns and sees what they've done on his behalf, he's thrilled and he invites them in to celebrate that they've done the thing. They've turned the profits, they've furthered the wealth, and they've exploited others. But the third slave, he opts out of the story. He decides that his master's character is greedy and corrupt and can no longer participate in a dishonest system of gain, a system based on oppression and injustice, knowing full well it will cost him. It will cost him. The slave buries the heavy talent in the earth. He hides it, literally taking it out of circulation, putting it where it will cause no further harm to the poor. Is it any surprise that the master abuses and banishes this human after he returns from his journey? In Herzog's words, the slave is more than a quiet hero. He is a whistleblower. At great cost to himself, he names exploitation, the same exploitation that he colluded in and benefited from for years. He takes away his claim on worth and comfort, calls out the master's greed. He says to him, I know you're a harsh man, reaping where you did not sow and gathering where you did not scatter. He accepts this ostracism he will receive from his people and potential poverty that will flow from his choice. Have you all heard that before? I had not heard that before, right? Debbie, flipped that one. Flipped it for me. I'm still sitting with what all that means. But I can't help but wondering, this way of leaning into the story, maybe listening a little bit different, finding a different takeaway or multiple, now I have a lot more questions. Thanks, Debbie. Jesus preached and invited those around him into a different kind of economy. That's the thing that I now will keep looking for. He taught an economy that promoted reciprocity and mutuality. Systems where people exchange things with others, and the hope is it's for mutual benefit. It's not taking advantage of each other. Things need to be traded, there are resources to be shared, but there's a different way that we can do it. He knew those in power would not like that message. Of course not. It could mean being cast out of the cultural system into outer darkness, isolation, maybe even poverty. What if Jesus' invitation to them, to us, to keep imagining an economy, a way of stewarding our resources that promotes flourishing and even at times calls out systems of exploitation? Might we be willing to participate in the risky work of imagining another way of supporting and caring for one another? We receive a lot of phone calls throughout the week, and some of them have to do with, can we hold an event at National Avenue Christian Church? Or we've got a recovery group and we're needing to relocate, or some of my favorites, some of my harder for, I'm trying to put together this cooking program and I want to care for others and I need a kitchen space. Anytime those requests come to my desk, I joke that I just want to give the space away. That I hear the dreams and I hear the hopes and the wonderful things that people are doing, and I just want to say, how can we make this work? And I know, people quickly come to me and say, Jen, it costs money to keep the lights on, right? Like, I know it costs money to keep the building up and running. And in fact, when you look at our narrative budget, 1/4 of our budget is the property. 1/4. Yeah, that was hard to kind of wrap my head around. But hearing the parable and revisiting my own understanding of economy this week, there's a reframing happening in me about what I might say. Maybe the question is it ours to do? It always is that for me. And how might we find ways with others to promote systems of mutuality and reciprocity for the flourishing of people in our community as we share this space, as it's a hub for community life? So I struggle with the transactional nature of things, and I know the truth. You have to pay the bill for city utilities for the lights to stay on. Like, you have to do that. And the water bill and the trash bill, and we know those things. And to keep the refrigerator running. And I know that the lights that are on, because I see the kids in and out, like out my window, and I hear them constantly, that the lights actually provide space for the kids to learn. And then I see these workers from Jobs with Justice coming in with petitions in and out constantly, and I know that that helps to equip and empower us to build up justice workers, to build these strong systems of power. And there is a woman who is out of our kitchen starting up her own business and doing organic vegan tamales, and she's the sweetest and most wonderful. And then music lessons. I hear Kirsten all the time. In fact, my own daughter is now playing violin lessons with her. So these really cool things are happening, that this space with the lights and all the things that happen gives us room to learn and to grieve and to practice and discern how to be church for and with one another. The fridge and the freezer hold food that becomes meals for our neighbors every Monday night. It takes careful management of our resources, of money, to do this work well. The complete list of our 75th and all the things that are coming for next year will be finalized before our December 17th congregational meeting, as well as our budget that puts all these pieces together. And I can tell you, as I've been sitting in planning meetings and these things are coming together, I am marveling at the leaders, the dreams that they have for us of how we're going to play together, about hard conversations to talk about Christian nationalism and wade into what that means in our complex reality right now. That there's dreams of bringing in speakers and holding more space, digging into toxic theology, plans for retreats. There's drag bingo coming this year, y'all. I'm so excited about that one. And so much more. So many great things on the list. The financial support that we pull together, every single dollar, it's more than a transaction. It's hope. It is an act of faith. It is a dream of ours that we're bringing love to life with our resources shared together. The estimates of giving that my family make every year, and the estimates of giving that you put forth every year, these dollars become an opportunity for us to practice a radically different economy where we get to show up to tables and imagine how we'll use resources with creativity and imagination and play and hope that all will thrive. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Jesus reminds us, this is risky business. Not everyone's going to like it. There's going to be some pushback. And I think that's the only way to go forth. That's the only way as we figure out how to practice love together. May it be so. Amen.
Well, as Jenn, Pastor Jenn, I keep saying Jenn, it's Pastor Jenn. So as Jenn has previously talked about, this is Stewardship Sunday. And I must say, listening to the gospel, there was some incongruity present in how I'm thinking of stewardship. Over the past several years, I've served on several non-for-profit boards, and the mantra that you need to keep in mind on a non-for-profit board is to be good stewards of the resources. Good stewards of the resources. This is not a for-profit system or organization or board in which you have stakeholders and shareholders, and your goal is to have a profit. And it's a quid pro quo system. It's a transactional system. It's a you do this and you'll get that. Stewardship is really not about that. It's about caring and nurturing something. It's about sustaining something. It's a build-up. In our church, I think we practice stewardship all the time. It's what we do. And Jenn pointed out some of these activities, crisis cold weather shelter and the homeless feeding, the list goes on. So we know about caring and sustaining, and it's something we do, and that's the essence of stewardship, that we care and nurture this environment that we're in, this faith community in which we care for each other and we care about others. And really, it has a biblical imperative also, this stewardship, that in Genesis, of course, God created the earth and man to have dominion over the earth. Many people would translate that as, instead of dominion, stewardship. Steward of the earth and the creation. But as Jenn said, that's a pretty sort of risky proposition. It's also a heavy responsibility, but it is life-giving, and that's what we should be about. This morning's offering will be given and received.
Creator God, thank you for the beauty of this season, cool breezes, colorful landscapes, and shorter days inviting us to the reflective days of winter. Thank you not only for the gifts of creation, but also for the ability to create through poetry, art, music, dance, food, and relationships. Thank you especially today as we welcome new members for the beauty of friendships within this community. Thank you for the opportunity to work together as we seek ways to follow the commandment to love our neighbors. We pray for wisdom, strength, cooperation, and imagination as we determine the best ways to do this work and manage resources. Make our hearts look like the heart of Jesus. Amen.
As we prepare to come to the table, a reminder, if you have completed your cold winter season, our hopeful impact, you are welcome to bring it and drop it off in the chest. Not required today, just an invitation. If you, just a reminder, you can do that as we share together at this table. Let us join together in words to help center us in this practice together. God, we know we are inextricably connected to the earth. From the beauty of nature, pour forth life and nourishment, the waters and the soil, the plants and the creatures, all part of your artistry, relying on the divine economy. By our connection to the vast community of life, by the imago Dei inherent within each of us, and by the beauty and abundance of creation, we receive and reciprocate love. All this provision comes from the source. With gratitude, we draw breath. With gratitude, we eat and drink. With gratitude, we commune with nature. With gratitude, we share stories, dancing, and meals. With gratitude, we remember our ancestors before us. With gratitude, we feel love. With gratitude, we enjoy today and trust for tomorrow. With gratitude, we give of what we have.
As Jesus has pointed out as he gathered with the disciples,
even the most meager gift
given with love reflects the generous heart of God. We gather around the table to experience the story together. Jesus took a piece of bread, he broke it, and he blessed it.
This is the body of love for all.
Jesus took the cup, blessed it, and shared it.
This is the cup of love for all.
In the commonwealth of heaven, nothing is earned, nothing is withheld,
and nothing is wasted.
Help us to flow with the economy of God
and to learn more faithful ways of being on the earth,
rooted in abundance and gratitude,
centered in the love and provision of our Creator as we gather at the table.
As we partake of this bread and fruit, we honor Creator and creation. As we bless and share these gifts, we celebrate the table fellowship of Jesus. All are worthy, all are welcome. As we receive the fruits of Spirit, we celebrate the communion of all things. Creator, Christ, and Spirit dance as one. So may it always be.
have you here. Thank you. Thank you. And to beautiful. Thank you, choir and music. Always to the tech crew, I know the labor that they carry up there. And to all the things, I was joking this morning, the elves behind the scenes that make all the things happen. Encourage you to be an elf today as we're bringing up, we're not celebrating Christmas. We're just getting ready for Christmas. Stressing that. I really appreciate that. It's a good reminder. So as you feel comfortable and able, and then we'll join together and have a wonderful meal. The other wonderful part of this time together we get to share, in addition to reconsidering our economy and stewarding things, is to welcome new members. So if this is yours to do, I invite you to come forward as we sing, and we'll share and celebrate a reading and recognition of new members together. So as we prepare for that, let us stand and join our voices as we're able, community, and join together in singing Community of Christ. One of the things I love that we get to share and celebrate together is a sense of what it is to feel a sense of belonging and building and being community together. So as we prepare to say these words, that's the invitation. We know that each of us bring different things to the space as we discern what is ours to do. We bring questions, and we evolve and shift and change because of that. So I have invited these two individuals to introduce themselves and say a word as they choose as we welcome them and celebrate this moment today.
Hi, I'm Miles Pearson, and this is my wife, Lexi Amos, and we've been, thank you. We've been coming here more regular. We've come here sparsely over the past few years, and then past several months this year, we've started coming regularly. And I know I've went to some different churches throughout my life, and I've never enjoyed going to church. Like, I've enjoyed some different parts of it. I've enjoyed some sermons and stuff like that, but this is the first time I've ever actually enjoyed coming to a church and look forward to it. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do this thing on the weekend because I'll miss church, but those are typically the only reasons we miss it now is because we're doing something out of town or something, but it's, I've never been to a place, like church always made me feel bad, you know, feel less, and this is one of the first times it's actually felt like a community where it's meant to make you feel good about yourself and to bring people together, and it's not a performance. And so that's why I want to join here, and I think Lexi feels very similar in this, and it's amazing, and I'm really grateful that this is here and that all of you are here to make this what it is, and that it's such an open and loving space, and that it's really about like justice and the stuff that Jesus actually taught, and not about any sort of superficialness that I've gotten in so many other places I've been. So thank you all.
Thanks, Miles. Well, it is with great joy that we share these words together and invite you, church, to read along as we welcome and celebrate Miles and Lexi in this place together. As this body and community gathered here today, we join our voices together and offer our welcome. As this community, we reaffirm our own faith in the way of Jesus and welcome you into this community of faith, enfolding you with our love and committing ourselves to your care. In the power of God's Spirit, let us work together as we encourage each other to trust God and strengthen one another to serve others, that this church may continue to be a place of welcome grace. We are grateful for the gifts and talents that each of you bring to this place. Your experience, your insights, your enthusiasm, your questions, your faith, your doubts, and your abilities for ministry. Together, we are a spirit-driven people. Together, we will work to transform ourselves and our world through spiritual growth, inclusive community, and the pursuit of justice. I know we have a lot of elf work and pizza to eat, but I've invited Lexi and Miles just to stay here for a moment, so you all are invited to greet them and receive them and celebrate this day together. I'm going to share these words of the journey, and then we'll go be about the work before us, and community will continue. We leave this place with hope, tender parenting God. You heal wounds left by the love we wish we could have had, and the needs we wish we would have met. May our shared resources do the same. Meet needs with care. May no one go without food, shelter, or health care. May no one go without rest, play, or love. May our fierce love in action help to make it